Hello, San Francisco, and welcome once again to the Angelic Troublemakers. I'm your host, Alan Jones, and on today's program, the Dallas Cowboys or the Dallas Cowards. I have that backwards. The Dallas Cowards or the Dallas Cowboys. Now, today, I am going to be speaking about the controversy over the Dallas Cowboys owner, Jerry Jones, making an edict to his players. You stand for the anthem or else you don't play. Now, as long as he's paying them, I guess he could do that. I'm not sure of the rules on that. However, I think that it's going to be really strange having the Dallas Cowboys come to town to play I call them Santa Clara 49ers, but they'll be in San Francisco on October 22nd to play at Levi's Stadium. And this is going to get really interesting. Why? Because the NFL does not know what to do with this anthem issue. Now, we all know that things were simmering down. But then President Donald Trump, opened his mouth and called NFL players who kneel SOBs and said they should be fired. And there's a lot of great demand to respect the flag. Well, this got under the skin of owners when it wasn't intended to. And so the Dallas Cowboys owner, Jerry Jones, he went along with the kneeling. If I can find my kneeling photo, we need to look at this. Jerry Jones is kneeling with his players after Donald Trump called NFL players who kneel for the anthem SOBs and should be fired. It didn't sit well with the owners, and it definitely didn't sit with the players. Now, this kneeling is not at the anthem. Jerry Jones, he did it just prior to the anthem. And he had his players standing for the anthem. And they all agreed. Well, let me put it this way. How can you have a situation where the Dallas Cowboys are going to look silly coming into Levi's Stadium with the orders from their owner to stand for the national anthem, when while they're standing, they'll be looking not at the flag, they'll be looking across the field at the 49ers, who will be kneeling. As many as 23 of them will be kneeling, and possibly more, because they will not be intimidated by the president. And might I say also this, a letter by NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell. The letter states, and I'm not going to read it all, but the letter states that the NFL believes that all players should be standing for the national anthem. Well, that's fine and dandy for some who believe in the national anthem as a form of respect. But when you really look at it, there's all kinds of situations where it's tough to show respect when you know in your communities that America's not respecting a great portion of this country. The many people who are talking about respecting the flag, respecting the anthem, and respecting soldiers. Well, from what I understand, the top soldier is called Commander-in-Chief. And the top soldier is demanding respect. Donald Trump, as President of the United States, is our head military person. And he's demanding that we show respect to soldiers. Well, if you're going to ask the players to show respect for the soldiers, and you disrespect them by calling them SOBs, no, it don't work that way. And for Roger Goodell to put together a letter, you should read this letter. I'm talking about you really have to be an idiot to go along with the contents of this letter. It's a bunch of fluff and nothing trying to get people to come together when the NFL doesn't know what it's doing with this subject. They dropped the ball. When you really look at it, and please, if you don't pay attention to all I'm saying, follow me on this part. If the NFL had not blackballed Colin Kaepernick, he may have been playing in the NFL and standing for the anthem. And if he had been standing for the anthem, there would not have been this Donald Trump crap that got all of the players to follow after Kaepernick. Now, true, there was a lot of players who were reluctant on taking a knee, but they were showing their fist and joining hands and basically agreeing with Kaepernick. But in all honesty, it was dying down. One San Francisco 49er was kneeling at the beginning of the preseason this year. Why? He had vowed he was going to stand. But what had happened was the Bennett situation where a player for the Seattle Seahawks went to Las Vegas for a boxing match, and he's apparently, in the eyes of the Las Vegas Police Department, fit the description of somebody they were looking for. And sure enough, he was treated, in his words, unfairly. And so the issue rose back up. And so we got one 49er to recommit to kneeling because of how the police treated Michael Bennett of the Seattle Seahawks. But if the NFL had not showed such standoffishness towards Colin Kaepernick and allowed him to play this year by not doing the shenanigans that we all know happened to keep him unsigned, and I blame Jed York for his two-facedness on this issue also, but that's another story. Who would be kneeling if Colin Kaepernick was standing? He was basically the leader in this issue. Well, if the leader says, I got the attention that this subject needed, therefore, I'm going to stand. Because Colin Kaepernick never once had an issue against soldiers. He never once had an issue against our military. He has great respect for it. But for everybody to take his protest and turn it into everything but his protest, hey, we're at this situation today where the NFL is demanding, or wait a minute, the NFL is encouraging all of its players to stand. But they realize this is not going to happen. You have really got to be an idiot also if you think that you, NFL commissioner, are going to get a bunch of black players to just automatically stand for the national anthem when we all know blacks in America are not treated fairly. Now, I hate to use the word fair because life is not fair. And since life is not fair, hey, why should we be expecting fairness all the time? Well, I'm one who thinks that we should definitely seek more justice. And how Colin Kaepernick started this, I just love. But if we're going to get back all on the same page, it's not all of us stand for the anthem. No, it's all of us get back to what Colin Kaepernick originally set out to do. Bring attention to police brutality against unarmed black men. But when you look at the situation and how Jerry Jones 1 week is kneeling, and then the very next week he is demanding that his players stand for the anthem, he too has lost his mind, because he sounded more like a mob boss than a caring owner of an NFL franchise. Because the situation is, if Jerry Jones wanted to address his players on this subject, they could have done it, as they say in all sports, in-house. There are certain things that are done in the sporting game to where there's issues that they like to handle outside of the public. And some of these issues are so out of respect for the people involved But for Jerry Jones to come out and say, no, we're standing for the anthem, that's that, or you're not going to play, you're basically telling his men, these aren't, they may be cowboys, but they're cowmen. For you to be telling them what they're going to do, that's not a sign of respect. You don't respect your players. The people who bring tons of money into your franchise, you are telling them how they're going to act. You can ask them, you can request, you can sit down and discuss with them, but to boldly say, oh, no, it's going to be this way, when you're talking to men, you're basically setting up a situation to where they don't have a voice. You can't take away the voices of 70% of the people who are fighting for justice for the average black person. You can't do that. Jerry Jones. Now, if I could shift ever so slightly, I would like to shift on the fact that San Francisco has an awful lot of history with the Dallas Cowboys. And some of it has been good and some of it has been bad for me personally. Though I am boycotting all 49er games due to the fact of how they left the city of San Francisco, and boycotting all of NFL based on the situation with the Oakland Raiders. But I recall many years of watching Dallas Cowboy 49er games. And the one that hurts the most is where, if you know anything about football or you've followed anything about football, far as the Dallas Cowboys are concerned, there's one quote in Dallas Cowboy history that everyone remembers. It happened in 1993. The Dallas Cowboys, 4 years earlier, were purchased by Jerry Jones. His first act, he fired longtime and probably the only coach the team had, Tom Landry, the famous hat-wearing Tom Landry. And he vowed that he would change things around. Now, I don't know whether it was him or the man he brought in, a college mate, Jimmy Johnson, to coach the team. But he brought him in, and they vowed together, I guess, a Super Bowl within 5 years. Well, in 4 years, they were playing the very successful San Francisco 49ers at the time, and they beat them. And in the locker room, I'll play just a minute of what was said, and it goes
I don't mean to put a damper on it, but no. But you understand, we do have one game left to play. Hey, fantastic. Every single one of you. I mean, I'm not just talking about these last 60 minutes. I'm talking about the quarterback schools, the mini camps, the off-season, the training camp, down in Austin when it was hot and you were tired, the whole bit. Everybody, you did one hell of a job. And the only thing else I got to say is, how about them Cowboys?
How about them Cowboys?
How about them Cowboys indeed?
Yep. It was that statement, how about them Cowboys, that started the Dallas Cowboys back up to the top. I think they won like 4 Super Bowls after that. 2 of them under Jimmy Johnson, but he had had enough of Jerry Jones' antics and he took off. Actually, Jerry Jones didn't want to share the fame and the success with Jimmy Johnson, and he fired him. But the fact of the matter is I recall how stinging that statement was. It was at Candlestick Park that they played that game. And for the team to come away with the victory back in 1989, fast forward to October 22nd, 2017, because now the Cowboys under Jerry Jones are going to be faced with a situation where you may hear some shout, how about them cowards? Because Jerry Jones is taking away a man's respect by telling them, oh, you're going to do it this way. In public view. This could have been done privately. But no, he did it publicly. This type of respect is what the black man is trying to gain. Don't disrespect black people. This is what this whole situation is about. Black people are not respected. And because black people are not respected, we have Colin Kaepernick saying, wait a minute, this is not right, and taking a knee. Was he intending on disrespecting the flag? No, that's how y'all took it. And I don't mean y'all. Was he intending on disrespecting the national anthem? I don't know. He was just saying, I don't agree with this. And he didn't agree with it because of what he saw in America. Black men being shot in the back, killed, and the white officers who were the perpetrators of this just, oh, I thought he had a gun. Oh, he flinched. Oh, whatever. They go on leave, and none of them were prosecuted. The only one person that was prosecuted in the Oscar Grant situation, 10 months. 10 months for shooting a man in the back on a BART platform. And if you've seen the video, boy, I'm telling you, no way in the world will I believe he meant to shoot him with the taser. Not that close. Absolutely not. However, this continued shooting and reporting of black men by white officers is what Colin Kaepernick said. No, I can't stay silent anymore. And so justifiably, he did something. Now, if I can say that last year when he started this, he started it by trying to call out police when he was wearing socks that had police dressed as, or pigs dressed in police uniforms. Well, people saw it, but nobody paid attention to it. Then he says, well, wait a minute, how else am I going to get people to pay attention to what I'm saying? So then next week came around, he decided I have to up it. So he sat. And I think the second week he sat again. Then people noticed. And then when it was all, out, then he had a conversation with a military guy, and he came to some sort of an agreement. And he and Eric Wright, who, was with him at the beginning, started to kneel. And that's what it started. And it went the whole season, the two of them kneeling in protest of unarmed black men being, and some women, being gunned down at the hands of mostly white police officers. Now, for it to spin into what it is today, and the fact that this is coming all the way around to October 22nd, where the Dallas Cowboys are going to really look silly standing for the national anthem by orders of their white owner, when the 49ers on the other side of the field are kneeling. At least half the team's going to be kneeling. And the other half is going to be standing behind them in support. It's really going to be looking silly, because Dallas Cowboys are going to be faced with the forever image that not only they, but their children and their children's children will see as them looking at somebody taking a stand for black people, and we can't participate. Why? Because the white man said so. This cannot end well. But there's hope. Why? If I can shift over as I close, my ballot measure, relocation of professional sports teams, it is with the situation with the arena in San Francisco that I say will not be completed. But it involves all professional sports, and it calls them out for their disrespect of fans and communities. Well, we've collected 14,600 signatures, which was our goal. And next week, I will be presenting those signatures to the San Francisco Department of Elections. They will have to be verified, but the issue of respecting black people, I like at a time that the Dallas Cowboys are coming to town that same week, because we're not going to miss an opportunity to let Jerry Jones know this is not how you treat people. And with that, God bless.